Welcome to this episode of Unlimited Games. I'm Joey. In the previous episode of Death Stranding, I mentioned that a good game will definitely leave a lasting impression on everyone, causing players to be unable to forget it even after decades. At that time, someone messaged me and asked, Joey, what's the most unforgettable game for you? I gave it some thought and typed out a few words, AI Girl. No, it's Max Payne. In 2001, a Finnish video game company which makes action shooter games named Remedy was born. The moment this game was launched, it caused a huge hoo-ha. No one would have thought the different styles of action and shooting games could come together so perfectly, and the music and plot brought a sense of coolness and despair to the players. That is Max Payne, one of the most iconic works in the history of games. For all players, they'll definitely know this series. If you are a new generation player and you like action plots and shooting games, it would be deeply regretful if you don't try out this iconic game. Max Payne is a New York City police detective. One day he went home and felt that something was amiss. When he went into the bedroom, he found his wife and baby who were still in the cradle murdered by drug dealers. With such immense loss, Max Payne swore to hunt down the drug dealer's hidden assassin. He transferred to the DEA and went undercover in the mafia. He met a fellow DEA agent in an underground subway operation, but his friend was killed in an ambush by the mafia and Max Payne was framed for his murder.
Alex? Alex!
Thus Payne's identity was revealed and he also became a fugitive. Both parties were after him. He could only rely on his weapon and painkillers to find a murderer in the snow in New York City. A frenemy female assassin, the spy in the police force, and the two-faced informer all made Payne fall into despair. The Max Payne series has 3 installments, but for me, Max Payne only had 2 installments because the first 2 were developed by Remedy, while the third was by Rockstar Studios. Not only did the third Max Payne have a different writer, the style changed too. It turned to sunny Brazil. Players who played the first 2 Max Paynes would realize that the game only takes place during the night and not the day. Hence, the third one's brightness no longer had a feeling of despair, which Payne felt during those nights in New York City. The best part of playing Max Payne is where it borrowed from an iconic 1999 movie. The Matrix has bullet time, as well as Wu Yusen's A Better Tomorrow. The character can now trigger bullet time, and even if he's being fired at, he can also use shoot dodge to dive through the air and return fire. A detailed design and excellent action system made Max Payne the first game to execute the effect of bullet time in the game. The slowing down of bullets and movements while killing enemies made the players excited. 19 years ago, when everyone was still making normative games, it was difficult to imagine a more perfect combination of shooting and action. In an era where the facial structure can only be created through stickers, this game had actually paid attention to details despite the technical limitations. For example, in the first installment, the usable vending machine and fire extinguisher, even a bed with special abilities. The show on the TV was a more amazing feat. In the first installment, it was a rerun of a few shows.
The colors of your hair.
Oh, my lord, you should not speak so.
But my lady, I must.
My lord, no! I forbid you, this cannot.
In the second one, the shows won't repeat even after 10 minutes. Although it was just pictures and sound effects, but it included movies, variety shows, ads and animations.
Because your home is your castle.
Even adult shows. After activating bullet time, you can see the trajectory of each bullet and each bullet can turn into a bullet hole. The details of breaking certain objects, triggering NPCs' dialogues by touching them, and other unnecessary details were all displayed in the game. Max Payne 2 made use of Havok's physics engine, causing many items, collisions, and ragdoll systems to appear realistic. Based on these details, even if there are a lot of developers who are inattentive to their games, the physical effect will still be inferior to this 2003 Max Payne 2. During the times of undeveloped CG effects, to display a good plot, a game from the same era, Red Alert, had used a real-life short film to create its plot, while Max Payne used the American comic style as a narrative. They cleverly avoided the undeveloped CG techniques, which would be unpleasant for the players due to the low quality. The game's atmosphere expressed the darkness of America's lower class and crimes in great detail. The addict hiding in the bathroom, the bodies killed by the mafia, the rundown residential building and vagrants. All of this gave the players a feeling of chilly darkness. After eating the hallucinogen, players will enter Payne's subconscious. The blood maze in the stream of consciousness is filled with his wife's screams, allowing players to understand Payne's immense pressure and pain. At the game's main menu, usually when you choose quit, games will ask you if you are sure you want to quit. But Max Payne is different. Every time players want to quit, they'll be convinced to continue playing by these onerous words. Do you really want to quit? No, you don't. What's more interesting is that not only was the game exceptional in its atmosphere and detail, it also plays quite an effort in tricking its players. Everyone knows that Hidetaka Miyazaki's games have various ways to tease the players, hence the nickname Prankster Miyazaki. But compared to him, Max Payne was already in the lead for a long time for tricking its players. For example, the shotgun that will be triggered the moment you open the door, dummies which are filled with bombs and oil drums, flying gas cylinders, hitful traps and so on, will not only make the player depressed due to the atmosphere and plot, the whole detail about pranks will also cause players to experience Remedy's evilness. Also, the design of such pranks are not intentional like that of Hidetaka Miyazaki's, they are all explainable. For example, the traps were made by the mafia to avoid police. You're just unlucky to have triggered them. Sometimes, you still smile even though you have been tricked. This design can leave quite an impression on the player. Besides, the Easter eggs in the game are filled with sick American humor. For example, you'll get a prize for discovering a secret room. More interesting ones will be like this arm on the wall. Once triggered, the game will become like Super Mario as you avoid fireballs. If you throw a grenade into this hole, the mice in the subway will get mad and point guns at you. If you knock on every door in the hotel stage, someone will threaten to call the police on you, or you'll hear some weird sounds. What left a deep impression on me was this building's secret room. When you enter, an eerie music will play and there's a funeral portrait. When I was young, I was quite shocked. Later, I found out that when the game launched, one of the team members passed away and hence they placed it in the game as an eternal memory. One installment will cost you around 60 renminbi, but when it's on sale, 2 installments will only cost 18 renminbi. If you like this kind of game, I'll highly recommend you to put it in your wishlist and buy it when it's on sale. The shortcoming is that because the game is old, they didn't have a Chinese release. There's an unofficial Mandarin version online, so it's pretty good. This episode introduced Max Payne 1 and 2. The plots are connected and quite simple. It's just a story of vengeance, but there are 2 points the old players don't know of. Thus, I'll explain it to everyone briefly. At that time, the government was researching a secret drug. The drug could enhance a soldier's endurance and courage, but it could cause serious hallucinations. Thus, the plan for its former use had failed. But it's sold by Horn, the final female boss in the first installment, to the mafia. The reason why Max Payne's wife was murdered was because she was a lawyer at that time. She accidentally discovered the secret and faced retaliation. Similarly, many old players don't know that there are real and fake endings for Max Payne. When Payne's hunting the murderer, he'll meet the assassin Mona. Payne's always confused about Mona's allegiance. Sometimes she'll cause Payne's capture and sometimes she'll fight alongside him. But finally, Mona became attracted to Payne and both of them fell in love.
The bullet in my head brought me to you.
In normal difficulty, Mona was shot and killed by the enemy in the end. Payne once again suffers the loss of a loved one.
Max, dearest of all my friends, I was supposed to be the hero.
Now, like all my loves, she is mine forever. She has brought me here to this moment of clarity, where time slows down and I choose to look back to see myself. And in that act of seeing, I am reborn.
Down here! This way! There! Easy.
Oh my God!
Got a live one here! Detective Payne? He's still alive! We need a medic in here now! He's still alive!
But if you have cleared the highest difficulty level, Mona will wake up in the end. Both of them will have a perfect ending, and you will be able to see Max Payne, this man with the name meaning Max Payne, giving out a genuine smile for the first time throughout this whole game.
Something that gives you a reason to go on.
NYPD, freeze! Easy! Don't move! We need a paramedic team here. We have 2 survivors.
Thanks for watching this episode of Unlimited Games. If you liked this video, please subscribe to this channel. I'm Joey, and I'll see you next
I
time.
had a dream of my wife. She was dead, but it was all right.